Now let's speak to the Sky Sports boxing presenter, Andy Scott, who reported and worked with Ricky Hatton over a number of years. Andy, devastating news. Sport has lost a legend.
Yeah, I'm struggling to process it, quite honestly. Your phone blows up in a moment like that with a lot of people saying, "Can't believe it." Have you seen the news? And you just, what we all do now, we scramble to social media and you start to pray it's not true. You pray that it's being misreported. You pray that it's not the case. But I think, it's clear now we're all reacting, and we're all going to be saying the same thing. It's a tragedy, and it's just so sad. And so much of what Craig said there, you're going to get a lot of that because whatever capacity you work with Ricky, he treated everybody the same, and that was my introduction to him. So before my days at Sky and before the sort of blow up of YouTube boxing journalism, that's how I started. And in his preparation for the Manny Pacquiao fight, he held an open training session at his gym in Hyde. And I went along with a camera, not knowing what I was really doing, and completely petrified of meeting someone like Ricky Hatton, who had already, been selling massive box office events. And I cannot tell you that he made you feel $1 million. It didn't matter if you were with Sky Sports News or if you were there independently. He gave you his time. And he was wicked as well, the most hilarious guy. It makes it all the more difficult to comprehend because he was just working man's hero. I think that's one thing that nobody has been able to replicate. He was one of the last working class heroes, from where he had come from to what he had achieved. I think he spoke to everybody on a level, and I think that resonated with so many different people. The last time I saw him, ironically, I went up to his gym to film something, and two of my great friends in the boxing media industry were there, in Dave Kane and Mark Robinson, photographer and camera op, and said, I'm going to nick to the shop to get a bacon roll. And Ricky said, "Don't worry, they know my order off by heart, just tell them you're with me." And that was it. Whether it was the local cafe on the corner, or whether or not it was the highest echelons of boxing, everybody knew Ricky Hatton, and everybody felt that they had a relationship with him, because that's how he made you feel. And to echo what Craig said, the amount of people that went over to Las Vegas for primarily the Floyd Mayweather fight, you hear that start off being reported as 20,000, and then by the time you get to the end of it, it's almost like 50,000 people went. And Oscar De La Hoya, Hall of Famer, tells a great story that nobody has ever drank Las Vegas dry. But when Ricky Hatton came to town and all those fans went over, they drank Las Vegas dry. And that's a pretty impossible thing to do. But I can't really get out of my head, the impact on his family. I think that's where all of our thoughts are at the moment. Yeah, we all work in boxing, don't we? And we're going to feel it, but primarily the foremost of my thoughts is his kids, his mum and dad, and in his close family. I hope people are wrapping themselves around them at the moment.
Yeah, of course. At a time like this, you're going to want to hug your family just that little bit tighter, aren't you, Andy? You mentioned what he was like out of the ring, but in the ring, my goodness me, what was his fighting style like? Because that really captured people's imagination, didn't it?
I think if you were one of the people that was lucky enough to either work on or be in attendance at the MEN, the Manchester Arena, as it is now, when he fought Costa Zoo, it will live with you forever. I don't think that you'll ever top that. The crowd were with him every step of the way, but it was mutually exclusive. He brought them. He brought them into it. That electricity that the crowd generated. These pictures that you're seeing here, I don't think there was a boxer alive that would have beaten Ricky Hatton that night. And I do believe that because he was ferocious. He was absolutely on point. I think anybody that's seen that documentary, and Billy Graham, Bobby Rimmer, everybody that jumped, Mick Williamson, everyone that jumps on him here, he was absolutely at his best that night. And he wouldn't be denied. One of the great body punchers of our era. He was so good at attacking the body and fighting on the inside. And I don't know. I don't want to say that that's an art form that's that's slowly been dying, but certainly he was one of the very best at it. Just a wicked body puncher, and also people forget he was a brilliant amateur as well. Anybody that ever went to one of these after dinner speeches, he tells great stories about his amateur career as well. He was a great professional, obviously a two-weight world champion, but he was a standout amateur as well. He fought rough and tough at times, but he made it very, very entertaining. He wasn't a slugger or a brawler. Yes, he could do that, but there was a real intricacy to his work. Punched with real power. Some of his highlights, the knockouts, the Castillo body punch knockout. You're not going to see a better punch than that. And he was brilliant. And these are the shots that you're showing now. This is kind of like the start of my career with him. And yeah, he was brilliant. He was brilliant to watch, even when he shadow boxed like this. You would stop and take notice. And there's also some great pictures of the old Phoenix camp with Billy Graham, his trainer, with the most enormous body belt on, and he would need it because Ricky would rip him to the body time and time again. And yeah, he was a hard puncher, a real hard puncher. But he was the total package. He was great. He was a great. Will always be a great.
I think that just goes to show, doesn't it, the character of Ricky Hatton, Andy, where he treated you, kind of a newbie coming into your boxing career, with the same level of respect as he did with 30-year boxing veteran journalists.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah. Without a doubt, I don't really know anybody. I don't know anybody that's got a bad word to say about him when it came to that. He never. What I loved about him was Ricky Hatton was mobbed everywhere he went, and he would never turn down an autograph, or I never saw him turn down an autograph or a selfie. Everybody still wanted a picture or an autograph from Ricky Hatton. I worked on that exhibition, which was the last fight that we did, in 2022, and you can see how much it meant to him to go one more and have everybody there. And that was him. That was Ricky Hatton. I got written down like he was everybody's favourite fighter, but I think in the industry, he was every fighter's favourite fighter. That's one thing. Did a lot of trips to America once he'd retired, and the one person they always asked about or wanted to speak about was Ricky Hatton. He was just so much fun, just so much fun, and I almost have a little bit of jealousy about the likes of Craig and people that you're going to hear from, that Matthew Macklin, our colleague, that were there throughout all of it, because it was some journey. A lot of those documentaries that are still available on YouTube and stuff, the 24/7s in the build up to the Hatton fight, the Mayweather fight, correction, and the Pacquiao fight, really good. And even at this stage, when he linked up with Floyd Mayweather Sr. as his trainer, okay, it worked in parts, it didn't work in other parts, but he did still continue to develop and be better at this late stage in his career. And even in that shot there, you can see the likes of Shane Mosley, Juan Manuel Marquez, Bernard Hopkins, his brother Matthew. I send him condolences and deepest sympathies. What must he be going through at the moment? But fighters idolised Ricky Hatton. Fighters wanted to be Ricky Hatton. Everybody wanted to be associated with Ricky Hatton. There's terrific pictures. I was lucky enough he had a brilliant games room at his mansion, Ricky, with all of his memorabilia and photos and stuff like that. And he had this great photo when City won the league of him, Liam Gallagher and Vincent Kompany, and God knows what time of day it was. Everybody wanted still to be associated with Ricky Hatton. Great memories. You won't replace them.
Yeah, incredible memories. You would have heard me a few moments ago reading out the tributes, and one of those from Amir Khan, where he said, if you're struggling mentally, talk to someone. You are not alone. And there was this authenticity and this openness about Ricky Hatton, where he spoke about his mental health struggles, particularly after those big Las Vegas losses, but also once he retired as well. That will be a big part of his legacy, won't it? The mental health work he did and how much he inspired people.
That's one for the fighters that you're going to get on later, but I've seen the same tributes myself, and I think every fighter that we speak to, and actually we had Ricky on set not so long ago on the Toto podcast, and he described it as like a flame, and that flame, when you're fighting, it burns strong, but when you retire, the flame doesn't go out, it just dims slightly. And I think the big thing is here, that message needs to be repeated. you know, you got to talk about it and got to seek help and support. And Ricky was a great advocate, especially for fighters. You know, there isn't a fighters union, and Ricky would always try and support fellow fighters. But yeah, it's I don't know what more I can say on that. It's tragic.